Okay, so what we're going to be talking about is dilation of functions. So what a dilation is so last time we looked at what happens when you add and subtract. It just moved things up, left, right, and down, right? Now we're going to look at, well, what happens when we multiply? And that's called a dilation. So you're either going, so when you think about multiplying a function by something, so when you add and subtracted, all you did was move. When you're multiplying, you're either going to take it and stretch it, or you're going to take it and compress it. So if you multiply something by 4, does that get bigger or smaller? Well, multiplying something by 4 is going to make it bigger, so that's going to stretch it. If you multiply something by a half, like think about only having half of a pizza. Do you have more than a pizza or less than a whole pizza? Well, you have less because you only have half of it. That's going to take it and compress it, okay? So we're going to take a look and see what this looks like. You're not going to have to graph these on your activity. I'm just going to do it for you so that you can see where it comes from, and then I'll show you what the examples are going to look like that you're going to have to do, okay? So all I'm going to do here is take this and graph this. So -1 cubed. So that's -1 to the third power. So -1 to the third power. -1 times -1 is +1 times -1 is going to give me a -1. 0 cubed is 0 times 0, which is 0 times 0 again, which is going to give me 0. And then 1 cubed is going to give me 1 times 1, which is 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, so it's like this. Okay. And these are my points. And then it goes like that. That's the shape of x cubed, okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use this function. So if you notice here, there's a 2 multiplying on the outside, right? Okay, so here we go. So we're going to go 2 -1 cubed. So again, we know -1 cubed is -1, and then times 2, that's going to give me a -2. 0 cubed, so 2, 0 cubed. So 0 cubed is going to give me 0 times 2, which is still 0. And then 2 times 1 cubed, so 1 cubed is 1, times 2 is going to give me 2. So that's going to be like this. So if you see what happened here was this got stretched vertically, right? Which kind of makes sense with what we were talking about last time. So remember, our 6 letters that we have to remember are inside horizontal change, outside vertical keep. Well, this 2 was on the outside. It stretched it vertically and by a factor of what? 2. So for this would be a vertical stretch of 2. Okay? So that's what this does. So when we see this on the outside, we know it's going to be, and it's multiplying, it's either going to be a stretch or compression. We ask, is 2 going to stretch or compress? It's going to stretch. And it's on the outside, so it's going to be a vertical stretch, and we're going to keep that word stretch and keep it a 2. We'll see what happens when we change it on the next example, okay? So here we go. So square root of 0, I'm just going to plug these in. So square root of 0 is 0, square root of 1 is 1, and square root of 4 is 2. So we got 0, 1, 1, and then 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Okay, cool. So it's like this. Okay, now, same thing here. So I'm going to go the square root of 2 times 0. So 2 times 0 is 0, and the square root of 0 is 0. Square root of 2 times a half. 2 times a half is 1, and the square root of 1 is just 1. And then square root of 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and what's the square root of 4? 2. So it's like 0, 0 still 1/2, comma, 1. And then 2, comma, so it's like this. So if you look at this one shrunk it, right? It compressed it, right, by a half, right? So all the x values got compressed by a half. And again, that kind of makes sense. Where is this number? Is it on the inside or outside? Well, it's on the inside, so you know it's going to be horizontal. Now, when you multiply something by 2, are you going to get bigger or smaller? Well, you're going to get bigger, and that's a stretch. But remember, it's inside horizontal change. So I'm going to change this. Instead of stretch, I'm going to put compression. And then we have to make it a compression number. Remember, when you multiply something by 2, it stretches it. To make it a compression number, you're going to turn this into a fraction, and this is going to be 1/2. So this is a horizontal compression of a half, okay? So now let's look at an example that we're actually going to do on our worksheet. So first thing you have to tell me, inside or outside? Well, inside, right? This 3 is on the inside of my absolute value bars, so I know it's going to be horizontal. Now, multiplying by 3, bigger or smaller? Well, that's bigger. When you multiply something by 3, it gets bigger. And then am I going to keep it or am I going to change it? Well, it's inside horizontal change, so instead of stretching it, I'm going to write compression. And then how do you make 3 into a compression number? You're going to make it into that fraction that we're talking about. So when you see this, I want to see horizontal compression 1/3. Now, this is, I gave you the word, you have to write for me the function. So I know it's going to be x to the 3 power because I told you it's x to the 3 power. Now, I see the word vertical, so I go up to my chart. Vertical, which one's that going to be? That means I'm going to put my number on the outside, and I'm going to keep it. So I'm going to keep that number 1/3, and I'm just going to leave it on the outside. Okay. If I needed to put it on the inside, if it was horizontal, I would just put parentheses around this, but I don't need that because it's on the outside. Okay. And that's what we got for today. Let's go.